Well, today is day 24 of the war and the bombings continue. Less than 24 hours remain before Donald Trump, the President of the United States, the deadline that he has given expires. Remember, yesterday at 5:14 a.m. in the morning, Donald Trump had issued a threat to Iran, giving it 48 hours to reopen the Strait of Hormuz, after which he said that he would destroy Iranian power plants. Iran is using the Strait of Hormuz, that you can see on the screen, as a pressure point and has blocked the key waterway. This is one of the world's busiest oil shipping channels, and the blockade and the attacks on the ship in the Strait of Hormuz in the last few days has seen the oil prices soar over the recent weeks, leaving the United States and Donald Trump completely helpless. Now, over the last few weeks, he has sought help from his allies, asking them to help him clear the waterway. But in the absence of any help that is coming, he has given a final warning to Iran, giving it 48 hours. That started at 5:14 a.m. yesterday, and it is going to end on March 24th at 5:14 a.m. That is tomorrow. So that deadline has been given by Donald Trump, and he has made it quite clear that if Iran does not comply, the first strikes will hit the biggest power plants in the country. And that threat puts entire energy infra of Iran on the fire line. Have a look at the map on your screen that we will be showing you, from the massive thermal plant powering Iran, that's quite close to the capital city of Tehran, to the hydro giants of Kazakhstan, to Bushehr nuclear site. Remember, that has come under attack again and again. Those are, in fact, the key infra, the key power, a lifeline of Iran. Any strike here will not just cut the electricity, it will shake the country's core. So it remains to be seen what really happens, because that deadline will expire in the next less than 24 hours. The deadline is still 5:14 a.m. Indian Standard Time tomorrow, and that is what we're learning so far. But as far as Iran is concerned, it is not backing down. It has made it quite clear that it will not stop the ship from crossing Strait of Hormuz as long as they do not belong to the enemy nation. So clearly, Iran is not budging at this moment, and the standoff over the world's most critical water way, that is Strait of Hormuz, continues. But as far as Iran is concerned, they have in fact said that if their power plants are attacked, first of all, they will also be attacking the power plants in Israel, the power plants in the Gulf countries, and most importantly, they will be completely choking the waterway that is the Strait of Hormuz. Listen in.
Trump, you are fired. You are familiar with this sentence. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Trump, you are fired. You are familiar with this sentence. Thank you for... Trump, you are fired. You are familiar with this sentence. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Trump, you are fired. You are familiar with this sentence. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Trump, you are fired. You are familiar with this sentence. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Trump, you are fired. You are familiar with this sentence. Thank you for your attention to this matter.
All right, so that's the reaction that is coming from Iran. In fact, Iran is not backing down either. It is matching the threat that has been given by Donald Trump word for word. Any hit on its energy network will come at a cost, not just for the US, but also for the entire region, including the Gulf countries. We're learning that Iran has stated that if US carries out the threat against Iran's power plant, the following action will take place. Number one, Strait of Hormuz will be completely closed. Right now, it is partially closed, only for the enemy countries. Secondly, all power plants and energy infra of Israel will be targeted. Number three, all the similar companies in the region that have American shareholder, they will also be destroyed. And number four, critical infra in the Middle East will also be destroyed if Donald Trump, in the next 24 hours, targets the power plants of Iran. So that is how Iran is planning to retaliate. We have another breaking update coming in. First, Donald Trump threatened to destroy Iran's power plant, and now in a fresh message on social media, he has said, and I quote, "Peace through strength," to put it mildly. So that is how, in fact, he has also retaliated to how Iran has said that they will be hitting back if he hits the power plant. He has, in a very subtle message on social media, mentioned peace through strength. So he will be using strength as far as attack on Iran is concerned, because his key focus remains the clearance of the Strait of Hormuz that is partially blocked right now. But now Iran is saying that if Donald Trump attacks the power plants there in Iran, then he will be hitting, then in fact Iran will be closing the Strait of Hormuz completely. Well, on that, let me go across to my colleague Srinjoy, who's been tracking all the details. Good morning, Srinjoy. This does not look very good because the deadline, as far as Donald Trump's threat to Iran, the power plants are concerned, that is going to expire in less than 24 hours. So it appears that there is going to be escalation because Iran is also saying that they will be closing the Strait of Hormuz completely. And in retaliation, they will also hit the power plants of not just Israel, but also the Gulf countries as well.
It's very worrying. Look at the consequences of this. First of all, just think, the Straits of Hormuz are closed. And how can the Iranians do it? They can't, they can of course say it's closed, but beyond that, they can even sink a couple of ships at the mouth of the Straits of Hormuz, and that would be it for a while. So after that, you imagine the Americans striking all the power plants. So Iran is in darkness. Then Iran hits back. And what does it hit? The American bases and infrastructure. Now, infrastructure can mean refineries. Sure, they've done that before. They can hit oil wells, and that would be catastrophic, even environmentally. And they can hit desalination plants. They can hit power plants. Now, if you hit desalination plants and you're successful, then it's a huge problem for people in the Gulf because water supplies then begin to run down. So the whole thing seems extremely worrying. So at this point, we don't know what Trump will do. We don't know whether the Iranians will budge. And if this keeps going on, then we can see the entire area facing enormous difficulties. And not just the entire area with 9 million Indians there. We can see, because of this, oil prices going up and the demand for oil also going up in different parts of the world because all this, the supply from the Straits of Hormuz is shut. So America, other countries like Canada, various countries that produce oil, and Russia, that's the other thing. America has said Russian oil is usable for 30 days. We are getting to the end of those 30 days. What will America say now if the Straits of Hormuz are completely closed? So all of these issues are very, very important and extremely worrying. Each issue is as important as it's worrying.
Absolutely, because Donald Trump has said that he will be attacking the power plants there. As we know that Iran supplies electricity also to Afghanistan, Pakistan, and also to its neighboring country of Iraq. If at all tomorrow morning, if the power plants there in Iran are attacked, what will be the repercussions of this? Could you take us through those details?
Yes. First of all, the Straits of Hormuz. Do you realize that when the war planning was going on, the Americans and the Israelis, didn't they consider the fact that the Iranians could close the Straits of Hormuz, that use the Straits of Hormuz as a weapon? And if they did, what would be the repercussions? That's the first thing. Secondly, as you say, the Iranian power plants. Iranian power plants, certainly, they are hit. Pakistan is affected. Afghanistan is affected, as you said. The Iraqis are affected. So the entire area becomes an area of darkness, first of all. Secondly, you think of the strikes that Iran would go. Now, we haven't even talked about nuclear power plants. Supposing there's another strike on Dimona, can happen. Supposing there are strikes on desalination plants, possible. That's part of infrastructure. So as a result, we see by the end of the war, you will need another Marshall Plan. Now, is President Trump a kind of man who considers a Marshall Plan?
Right.
Maybe. We don't know as yet, because we are nowhere near the end of the war. Because
Absolutely,
after
because
5
the war is only escalating. the next 24 hours are going to be very crucial. The deadline of the threat that Donald Trump has given expires at 5:14 a.m. tomorrow. He has said if the Strait of Hormuz is not clear, then he will be attacking the power plants in Iran. Stay on with us to enjoy. We have another breaking update coming in as the US-Iran war